but they were hiding it from them, right? Because it's Christmas time.
Right.
So they put it under there. Or like they gave it to me and I put it here to hide it from them. So I'm like, oh, okay. You know, as a dumbass kid.
Yeah,
I'm
when
like,
you're a kid, you're like, oh, it makes sense. And you just, don't question it.
And then sure enough, Christmas rolls around. I open it. I'm like, oh, it was actually for me. Oh, this is awesome.
Yeah, motherfucker. We're gonna take it up a few notches right now. See if y'all can keep up. Wanna give a motherfucker sucker.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to episode 103 of the ScruffCast. I'm John.
And I'm Dan.
I was thinking about it earlier today, and I was thinking, you know what? Because now that we're in this new phase, like 101, 102, I was just like, 103, right? Just shortening it up.
Yeah, dude, we talked about this.
Did we?
We did 101 because you were like, welcome to episode 101. And I was like, oh, is that the way we're going to do it? You know, instead of 101?
I didn't know we made like an official decision.
No, yeah, but then we thought like when we get to like, 153, right? Yeah. I guess you could say 153, not 153. Man, I don't know. Here we go. We just started. We're repeating ourselves.
You know what? It's been 103 episodes. The listeners are used to it by now.
Yeah, I just generally repeat myself anyway, so.
Yeah, you know what I mean? For some reason, you guys you keep coming back. And one of the listeners actually wrote into us this week at ScruffCast@gmail.com.
How about
like
that?
You guys can.
3 weeks later, someone finally writes in.
Yes, I got to say, we had a peak. We hit the crescendo. Episode 100, we had the listeners write in. We're all feeling good, patting ourselves on the back. Oh, yes, we really made it. We're the greatest. And there's been a bit of an email drought since
to say the least. Yeah.
Over, So, listeners, I know some people are out there because I know people listen to the show and they send me messages. It's like, email those into the show because we need to fill the hour of content because we always come in with an empty agenda.
That's right.
So, we did have one listener email in scruffcast@gmail.com. Their subject is discussion topic. Hello, ScruffCast team. Fantastic job with the podcast as always. I wanted your opinion on COVID-19 being a conspiracy theory. And do you believe in conspiracy theories? And the listener also has an idea for the top 5 here. Should we just say what it is?
No, because we're not using it today, so we're going to keep it a secret. But we will use it.
Yes, we will use it. So the listener had a suggestion for a top 5. Thank you, listener. The email goes on to say, look forward to this week's podcast. Keep up the great work. With an exclamation mark. Just one single one, which I appreciate. So, Dan, what is your opinion on COVID-19 being a conspiracy theory? And I already know you believe in some conspiracy theories.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, of course. No, I don't believe it's a conspiracy theory. There's a lot of like the 5G cell tower stuff going on. Like, it's the 5G cell towers that are giving everyone, coronavirus. I think it's nonsense.
Yeah. I mean, because it's in so many other countries where there is no 5G. But it'd be like, but it could have started and then spread. But it is just, just boomer-esque Facebook material right there.
It's funny because it's only, I don't want to say older because, they're not old. But it's like, people not our age that are also not younger. Those are the only people I've ever heard this 5G conspiracy from.
Yeah.
The boomers, as you would call them.
Because, boomers don't understand technology.
No. Oh, it's the 5G. It's giving us respiratory infections, obviously.
That's too many G's.
If people were getting like brain cancer, I would be like, okay, yeah, maybe it's those 5G cell towers,
Yeah, it's like the same people who were, remember for the longest time it was everything gave you cancer. Oh, cell phones radiate and give you cancer.
Yeah. I remember thinking as a kid that if you pressed like, the TV remote, if you like held it up to you and pressed the button, you could get cancer from that. Really? I don't know if anybody told me that or I was just stupid and thought that, right? Like,
well, and they would always say like, don't sit too close to the TV.
Yeah, which apparently is not true.
Now there's like VR where it's like you literally have the screen strapped to your eyeballs. Or even with your phones, right? How many people you're so close to the phone beaming the light into your face? No wonder sleep schedules are messed up.
What's funny is like the standing close to the TV thing. So we got our TV on a stand. It's not like mounted on the wall. It's on a stand. And Leo, our son, not me and John's son, obviously. His name is Derek, but me and Anna's son, Leo, he like loves watching movies. I think I've talked about it on here before. He like loves movies. but he'll literally stand like right in front of the TV. And I'm like, dude, what do you like? Stand further back from the TV. So it's like, I get it. But like, my thought of him standing close to the TV is not, oh, dude, you're going to hurt your eyes. My thought is like, dude, how do you even see the whole TV? You're so close. You can see like one tiny little spot of it. Just move back a bit. You can see the whole thing. It's like, it's pre-done. It's pre-recorded.
You're also a little worried of the, you don't want any damage to the TV either. It's like, get out of swatting distance, back away.
Yeah, exactly. Anna's convinced that I'm like trying to get him to break the TV on purpose so we can get a new one. But
I mean,
maybe she's a little right,
What are you gonna do? Have no TV?
I'm like, here, dude. Here's a spoon. Do what you want with it.
Like, you can't live without a TV. Why don't you just become Amish? You know what I mean? That's the way it is nowadays. It's funny because I actually saw a picture of, I guess, the Amish community like went out for like one of the protests, the Black Lives Matter protests that I kept seeing online. People were like, "Damn, we got the Amish out here." But then I was looking in the Twitter comments and somebody's like, "Oh, actually, it's not the Amish because they have buttons on their shirt." So I guess it was Mennonites or something. Apparently, Amish people don't use buttons.
I don't know how to like tell the two apart. I don't really know what the difference is. Like one of them does use technology, like they drive cars. I think the Mennonites drive cars.
Yeah, well, I think the Amish are hardcore.
We buy chicken from the Mennonites.
Oh, do you really?
Like whole chickens, yeah. Man, they grow some outrageously large chickens. Like
they're just pumping them with 5G.
Seriously, yeah, they definitely have 5G in them. Like one chicken breast, dude, like me and Anna will eat one chicken breast for a meal. And like even then it's like too much for us.
Between the two of you?
Between the two of us, yeah.
Those are some mega chonkers, man. Those are hefty
chickens.
Yeah,
this is like, Dolly Parton sized chicken breasts.
Speaking of Dolly Parton, I went and saw Jaime on the weekend.
Ooh,
wow, right? Trying to keep some social distancing going on. But I was in the area, so I stopped by. And, he's always got questions. And one of the questions was, oh, can you look up how old's Dolly Parton? And I look it up, and I'm like, oh, what was she, 71 or something like that?
Right.
He goes, oh, okay, talking with my uncle. And it's funny because we were talking about, we were just talking about current events like the protests and coronavirus and all this stuff. And we were talking about India because apparently the coronavirus is starting to get pretty bad there.
Yeah.
And he was saying like, oh, how many people are in India? And I was like, oh, it was like, over 1 billion. You called me about this one time. He's like, oh, yeah, I wrote that down. He's like searching on the table looking for the piece where he wrote it down.
Where he wrote down the population of India 3 years ago.
Yeah, how many people in India? Dude, I introduced him to Amazon though.
That's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, so his weed whacker broke and he needed a new like little plastic cap and a spring that holds the spool of the wire in place.
Yeah.
So that broke and they can't find it anywhere. My uncle's trying to tell me, yeah, I went to Home Depot and the guy's, he's got snarky remarks for me. Like, oh, we don't sell just those pieces. He's like, the guy wants me to buy a whole new weed whacker.
Yeah, it's pretty outrageous.
He's like, I get they're opening up for business, but, come on. So then I was, showing it to my dad. Yeah, they have all these different options here. I'll order this. And it says it should come Tuesday. Right. So this was on Sunday. We're recording Monday. And it already came the next day. He's blown away. He's like, oh, it's like magic. Came right away. It's perfect.
It's like magic. Does Jaime have a computer?
No.
No, I didn't think so, but figured I'd just ask.
It is a little funny because back in the early days, Jaime was sort of on the cutting edge. He worked as a manager at a Swiss Chalet. He'd have to work in the office. So this is like, I was a kid. So this is like, let's say late 90s, mid 90s-ish. So, he's on there. He's using Microsoft Excel and stuff. Like he was ahead of the curve, right?
I still barely know how to use Excel.
And then all that knowledge disappeared. Turn of the century, the Y2K hit him. Now he doesn't know.
Yeah. That was his 5G like spark, the Y2K turning over of the clock.
Yeah, he had 5G before us all.
Yeah, okay, so back to what the email says here. Like, do you believe in conspiracy theories?
I believe it. Like, it's tough. So I don't believe in a ton of them, but I definitely think there's some things that are hidden away, right?
Yeah.
That the average person doesn't know. One funny one that I read online, which I kind of was like, I kind of believe this because a lot of it comes down to money, right? Mm-hmm. Was the reason that women's pants, the pockets are so shitty, right? Like they always have like small pockets.
Yeah.
Is because they want the women to buy purses.
Ah.
That's why they have shitty pockets.
That makes sense. And that's not like, an outrageous conspiracy theory either, That's just kind of like, standard.
No.
Yeah.
I don't believe in any of them that are too crazy. Apparently, there's like all this weird shit going on with the CIA back in the day. Like they had these like heart attack guns.
Oh yeah.
You could point it at somebody, it sends out some frequency or some wave or something, and it could like give somebody a heart attack. Which is like, it's impossible to know that somebody was killed with one of these heart attack guns, right?
Yeah.
There's also some crazy tech that I read about they experiment with back in the day. And I've seen some examples of people trying it in the current day where they would point a sort of little radio dish type thing at a window, right? So it's a little portable thing. And it would measure very small, minute vibrations in the window. And from that, it could discern what people on the other side of the window are saying, like talking.
Right.
And it could like pull the sound out of that because it could measure how the window's being impacted by the sound waves.
Oh, that's crazy, actually.
Yeah. There's crazy stuff like that. Like I saw another one. This isn't really a conspiracy theory, but similar sort of like practice anyway, where someone was able to measure what somebody's typing on a keyboard by measuring the fluctuations in the way the Wi-Fi waves were moving through the room, like the space.
Oh my God, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, crazy stuff. So I don't know. I don't believe in any of the ones that are too crazy, like aliens and UFOs and stuff. I don't really.
What?
No. Dude, it's like I take the Neil deGrasse Tyson approach. Wouldn't we know already?
Yeah, you know what? It's like, it's kind of annoying because when I was a kid growing up, like I was like, oh yeah, aliens exist 100%, and I was really into it. But like the older I've gotten, and like the more, I've gotten more into like kind of science. I watch a lot of like Neil deGrasse Tyson stuff or whatever, and like the more I'm kind of like, man, I don't think they're real. You know, I don't, not that they're not real, but like I don't think that they exist. Yeah, wouldn't we've already seen them by now? You know, whatever it may be, right? But do you ever think that like, you know, maybe we're the first ones?
Maybe. Like there's this interesting YouTube channel. It's called like Kurzgesagt, something like that. It has a hard to pronounce name. But they did a video on something, I think they called it The Great Filter. You guys should look it up.
Yeah, I've heard of this, yeah.
And it's basically that the fact that we are, you know, so advanced as a civilization, as a species, but we haven't run into any other advanced civilizations or species like in the universe, sort of points out that the fact that there must be this great filter out there, which means that there's something like a barrier that blocks life from advancing. And so there's two options. Either the filter is behind us or the filter is ahead of us.
Right. We've either somehow managed to get through or we haven't met it yet.
Yeah. So if the filter is behind us, then that means all the other civilizations out there didn't manage to make it through the filter. Somehow we did, right? And the filter is just like an abstract thing. So it could be, you know, like maybe inventing rockets or like space flight or something. And we managed to do that, right? And these other civilizations couldn't for whatever reason. So the filter's behind us. We were lucky to break through. All the other civilizations out there weren't able to break through. That's why we don't see them.
Yeah.
So they could just be, you know, like dumb civilizations out there. Or if the filter's ahead of us, that's bad news because that means we haven't hit it yet. And when we do, maybe we can't pass it.
And we'll be, we'll be toast.
Yeah. And then that's why we don't see anybody else out there either.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting video, an interesting theory. You guys should look it up. There's so many crazy theories like that about other civilizations out there. Have you ever heard of a Dyson sphere?
Yes.
Like this is, I had never heard of this. And when until a couple of years ago, when I heard of this, I was like, man, that's a really interesting concept. So the idea is that a really advanced civilization could build a sort of sphere that encapsulates the star of their solar system and could use that to just suck all of the energy out of their star, right? Like, so in our case, we do this with the sun. And because of that, the star, its light isn't radiating out. So we wouldn't be able to detect those civilizations far out there because we can't detect the light from the star.
Oh, okay. Actually, I never thought about that.
Yeah.
I knew what the Dyson sphere was, right? But I didn't know that was a thing. Yeah, because it's a way to gain, like, you know, almost infinite power, right? Like infinite just power.
Yeah.
Free energy.
That's sort of like there's this concept of like different tiers or different levels of like life forms or civilizations. There's like a stage 1, stage 2, stage 3. It depends on how much of the energy you can harness of the universe, right? Which I guess the closest star to you is like the biggest one.
Yeah.
So if you're like up to like creating a Dyson sphere, that's like stage 4 or 5. Like that's insane territory.
Well, because like think about the size of like a star, right? Think about the size of the sun.
Yeah, it's
like
massive.
To create something that can encapsulated is just insane. Like the size of that.
Yeah.
It's not something that could be made here. Like it can't be.
Yeah, we would need to like mine like asteroids and other planets to have the materials.
Yeah.
So I always thought of it as like one giant like piece, like sphere. But there's another video on that same YouTube channel, Kurz Gassette. You guys should look it up. It's like they have videos about so many different topics. It's really interesting. And they're just like animated videos.
Oh, yeah. I think you showed me these guys actually.
Yeah, they're pretty informative. They have another video about a Dyson sphere. And in their mind, it's actually like a ton of satellites or like giant solar arrays. So it's like not a like one solid piece.
It's not one big like sphere or ball. Yeah.
Yeah, but it totally encapsulates around the whole sun, sucking out all the energy. So it's really interesting.
Yeah.
There's something else I was gonna say when we were talking about the Dyson spheres.
I don't know.
Oh, it was I can't remember that. I think it was Space Chronicles by Neil deGrasse Tyson. And he was saying, intelligent life out there. And it's like, how do we know that there isn't already intelligent life out there that scanned over the universe? And then, because think of like if we went to Mars, right? And then we looked and maybe we found like little microbes. It's like, oh, life in the universe. But we'd say no intelligent life, right?
It's not intelligent life. Yeah.
How do we know that another sort of species out there hasn't come by past us, looked and said, no intelligent life? That's how far above us they are.
I've heard him say that, yeah.
Right?
Well, it's kind of funny, like, what's the Fermi paradox, right? Where it's like the universe is so large that the odds of something being out there is like, it's almost 100%. Like, there has to be something out there just like by chance. But at the same time, we haven't been visited by anything at all. We've seen nothing.
Yeah, right. And another interesting thing, I think it was Neil deGrasse Tyson as well said, was think of like a chimp and a human, and their DNA differs by like about 2%.
I thought it was, like 1% or something like that.
Yeah, it might be even less, right? And think of the smartest chimp, okay? What could the smartest chimp in the world do? Maybe you could do some basic math.
Or something like a baby can do. Or like, a toddler.
They could like, maybe draw a little bit. Even drawing seems like far-fetched for a chimp.
Yeah, they can match shapes and colors and whatnot, right?
Yeah, the smartest chimp in the world. The type of thing that your kid does in kindergarten and then they bring home and because you want to be a good parent.
Put it on your fridge.
Exactly.
Now imagine 1% above us, or even 2%, or 4%. We wouldn't even be able to communicate with them. Wouldn't even matter.
Right? Because think of like the smartest humans of all time. Like take, Beethoven's symphonies and like these great works of art. Like just, and I was going to say Stephen Einstein. I was combining Hawking and
Albert Einstein.
Yeah, or like, Albert Einstein's theories and stuff like that. Right, like some of the smartest humans that have ever lived. That's the stuff that 1% above us is. They're putting that on their fridge. They're like, "Oh, good job, honey, good job."
Yeah, I know. He wrote a little song.
Yeah, so it's crazy to believe.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not necessarily a conspiracy theory, but I believe there's got to be something out there.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, like I used to be way more into, like I still am into conspiracy theories a lot. I love like just reading up about them and stuff. But like I believe maybe 1%, maybe 1% of them, because there's some that are just so far fetched, and there's people who just they take it too far. They believe too much into it, right? Like I think there's like a lot of corruption within the governments and stuff, but I don't think it's nearly as much as most people think. You know what I mean?
I tend to agree because I
think there's shady stuff that goes on, but I mean I don't think it's like I don't think there's that much shady stuff. Like I don't think Donald Trump is a reptilian.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like there's some stuff there that's just like just ridiculous. But I still like looking it all up.
Makes for good YouTube top 10s.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. I remember the one time where I was kind of like, all right, I think I'm done with all this. It was when Paul Walker died from Fast and Furious. And I love those movies and stuff. So I was like looking all up about him. And then there was these conspiracy theories coming out, right? That apparently like he had his own like research team and like a first responder type team that would like help like in like if there's earthquakes and stuff like that, his team would go out and like help. And they did research on like diseases and stuff like that, right? And apparently there was a whole thing where he like his team found the cure to like malaria or something like that. And it was like buried by the government, and that's why he was killed. So I was like, okay, well, that's like kind of interesting. It's also pretty crazy, right? And then, so I'm watching a video. It's this guy like, yeah, Paul Walker killed by Illuminati. Like, here's the proof, right? So I'm watching this video. It's this guy, he's on Google Earth. And it showed like he died in a car accident. So it showed where his car was. He showed where his car was crashed, right? He's like, if you look from here, the point of this building to where his car crashed to this light post back here creates a perfect triangle. That's the Illuminati right there. And I was like, oh, Jesus Christ, this is such a stretch. Like, it's stuff like that where it's like just such a far stretch where you're just like, dude, come on. There's no way you believe this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If you dig in deep enough, you can find stuff like that with anything, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It's like, I need some solid proof somewhat.
Yeah. If there's going to be any sort of conspiracy theories, I believe, I think it's like the sort of stuff you said, like the corruption or, stuff in the government, right? Because I definitely believe there's stuff that's hidden away. Because how many times do things leak, right? And then documentaries and stuff are made and you're like, wow, I had no idea, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I almost feel like there's so many people, especially nowadays in the current day, it's a lot harder for conspiracy theories to survive, I think. Well, it's a double-edged sword.
It's hard to keep them locked down, right?
It's easy for them to spread, but I feel like with the tools at our disposal and like the number of people right in the world, like think of like stuff related to being a president or like stuff the government covers up.
Yeah.
Eventually that stuff would leak, right? Somebody would disclose it, and then like one dude, once it's on Twitter, then it's like it's out there.
Game over. Yeah.
But there is like sometimes there's stuff that just doesn't smell right. Like, did you ever hear about, I can't remember the guy's name, but apparently back in the 90s, and I think this was all ended up being like debunked, but it's like, who knows?
Yeah.
This guy that invented an engine for cars that could run on water.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I think we might have talked about it on the podcast one time, because then he ended up like committing suicide in quotes here, but he had like, he was like shot in the back of the head or something. Oh, well,
right. Yeah.
I want to talk about conspiracy theories. Like, look at Jeffrey Epstein.
Oh, yeah.
He killed himself, but it's like nobody believes that. But like,
that's no way he killed himself.
Right?
Yeah.
I'd say that's probably the one that's like the easiest.
The most current. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Oh, shit. I like the stuff within the U.S. government's always like so interesting. I was like, this was years ago. I was watching, I think it was a documentary on it. So pretty much like what happens is like, there's like this, it's a place in California, right? It's like a government owned kind of like park, I would guess you could say, like kind of like in the mountains. Leaders, like world leaders from the United States anyway, like go there on like a retreat, and they do like a whole bunch of weird shit. They like sacrifice a goat, and they do like a lot of like really, really strange stuff. And like someone's kind of like snuck in there and filmed it before. Has like kind of like sneaked in and like filmed some stuff before. It's like really weird stuff that goes on.
Really? I've never heard of this.
Yeah, it's just like not satanic, but like maybe a little satanic feeling. You know what I mean? It's kind of like along those lines where it's like, oh, what the hell are they doing there, man?
Is this the Bilderberg group thing, or is that something else? That's like another secretive group
I think
type
that's
thing.
something else.
Yeah.
Well, then there's like the Skull and Bones.
That's
fraternity or whatever.
Yeah, I think who was it? It was some former president of the United States.
It was Bush.
George Bush.
Yeah, it was George Bush. Yeah.
Senior.
Yeah, he was a part of it.
Junior.
Junior. I think his dad was also a part of it. No.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, there's a bunch. There's a ton, and apparently, like they groom the next presidential candidates in that like little fraternity. But again, it's like, I mean, there's all these conspiracy theories amongst that because like the Skull and Bones fraternity is real. It's a real thing, right? And these people come out of it, whatever, right? But like, there's fraternities everywhere in all the universities and stuff. So that's not that shocking. But it's like the stuff they say they do there, right? It's like, oh yeah, they sacrifice babies and stuff. I don't know. Which like that stuff, it's like starts getting a little far-fetched, right? Because you're getting into like some weird like voodoo type stuff, which I just don't buy to begin with, right? Like I don't believe in demons and the devil and any of that stuff. So like anytime I hear anything like that, like, oh, these satanic, they're worshiping Satan, I'm like, this is stupid. Like right away, it's like discredited.
Yeah, I agree with you. But I definitely feel like there's these organizations with all these like powerful people. There's gotta be stuff that they talk about or that they share with each other. They know that like, they're not letting the little guy know. There's gotta be stuff.
For sure. But do you think it's important for them to do it? Do we need to know everything?
No, man. Ignorance is bliss.
I 100% agree with you. Yeah.
All right. It's like I went for a walk through the area here yesterday with Taryn. We were just talking and I asked her, because this is a question I've seen online before. Would you rather be the smartest person in the world or the dumbest person in the world?
Dumbest.
That was my thought. She said smartest because she's worried if you're the dumbest that you might like kill yourself by accident. But I was like, no, you don't have to worry about that.
You're not that dumb, yeah.
But dude, I'd rather be the dumbest because ignorance is bliss. You'd definitely be happier. If you're the smartest, think every time you deal with someone, they're dumber than you.
All the stress and anxiety you'd have to deal with knowing all this, information and whatever, right? Just being so smart. It would suck.
It would. It'd be a burden, right?
Yeah.
You could probably, become rich, but I don't think you'd be happy. You'd have all that pressure.
Yeah.
Another conspiracy theory I've heard, it's not really a conspiracy theory, but well, kind of. They talked about this on an episode of Silicon Valley, the HBO show. Is this idea of blood boys, where these rich, influential people, like some people in Silicon Valley, apparently anyway, to try to stay young, right, and fight the aging process, they pay like young guys who are like in really good shape, perfect health and stuff, and they take blood out of them and do like blood transfusions into themselves.
Into themselves?
To, make their bodies healthier.
Like, it wouldn't surprise me either at the same time because, like I don't know how, like, accurate that is. I don't know if that's, like, a pseudoscience type thing, right? But there's a lot of those guys there, like, they're a little weird, too, right? A little, like, hippie-ish almost, like a lot of these, like, tech guys. They go on, like, silent meditations for 90 days and stuff. Like, the CEO of Twitter's like that, I think. He's a really, like, strange dude. So I wouldn't put it past them if they would do that. And these guys have so much money, too, right? Like, they can just do whatever they want.
That's exactly it, right?
Take the blood from the young.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some bizarre stuff. Well, I've read before, too, that, like, in the Olympics, right, like, sprinters, like, I think they said Usain Bolt did this before. But, like, it's hard to prove where to try to avoid coming up positive for doping. You have to time it well, right, in accordance with when you do the tests before qualifying and stuff. You do blood transfusions, right, where you remove the blood out of your body and then you put fresh blood from someone else in.
Jesus Christ. You remove all the blood from your body?
Not all the blood.
But a majority of it.
I wonder if you do it slowly over time. Right? Oh, yeah. Imagine if you did enough transfusions over time, do you eventually replace the blood? I don't know. Just the thought of it's getting the veins in my arms feeling.
I know. It's like, it's just creepy. I would just run a little slower, It wouldn't be a big deal.
Yeah, I know. But like, dude, think like you made a career off just running fast.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing, because like if you're the number 2 runner of the world, nobody cares about you. Do you know who the number 2 runner is? I don't know. He could be so fast. He could be like 0.00001 millisecond slower. He does not matter. He's probably making no money. He's probably working, at the gas station. Usain Bolt has all the sponsorships, doesn't got to do anything. Nobody cares.
Yeah, he's got to make.
Second place is first loser.
Exactly. That's why we're happy that the ScruffCast is the world's biggest podcast.
Boom.
Or it could be with your help if you shared it with your friends. You guys may remember last week, I told you guys that we've updated ourselves on Instagram. I flexed some of my muscle over there. And I changed this from the ScruffCast to just @ScruffCast. Same as our Twitter handle. You guys can find us there.
Genius.
Send us your memes. Send us your stuff.
Anything, really.
I often wonder, what is it like for the listeners who listen to the show? Right? They're like, oh, Wednesday morning, new episode of the ScruffCast. And they're just like, oh, what the hell are Jon and Dan going to talk about this week? Because it's always, dealer's choice. You get what
you never know what you're going to get. Yep.
Yeah. There's got to be stuff you guys want us to talk about. So do not hesitate to send it in. Like this listener wanted to hear about conspiracy theories. There
you go. You got a half hour of conspiracy theories.
Yeah, it can be literally whatever you guys want.
Yeah. Oh, another thing too is, so as you guys know, we have a friend. His name is Brinkus. I think we were even talking about him last week. I think Ian was talking about him now, or was that afterwards? I don't remember.
No, Ian did. He told the story about when Brinkus was at the dance.
Right. So this Brinkus, friend of ours. So obviously someone we've known for a very long time, but we haven't really kept in touch with a ton recently. But we always said, oh man, it'd be so fun to get him on the show because he's such an eccentric character, to say the least. And his line of work and his job is extremely interesting. It's different and quite fascinating. So I'd love to get him on here for like an interview. We can do like our first interview piece. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because he would everyone we've had on the show, we're friends with them, right? And they're all interesting. This isn't like to discredit anybody we've had on the show.
No.
But he's like, I don't know, the first sort of most eccentric person we would have.
It's not even close, really. Like
Yes.
So anyway, we've been talking and humming and hawing about it. We can obviously text them or do whatever, but we just haven't because someone we don't keep in touch with as much anymore, right? Anyway, he reached out to us, funny enough, because he's heard about the ScruffCast. No, that's not the reason he reached out. We wish, but no, he reached out. So we actually hung out with him yesterday. Did some social distance tennis playing. So I think that'll be up next. I think we got to get him on the show 100% now.
We do.
Yeah, and I think he'll do it, no problem. So we'll get him on. That'll be fun. That'll be fun to listen to. Probably not for the women who listen to this, but for everyone else.
Maybe. I don't know. He'll biohack the vibes.
He's quite the biohacker of vibes. So
yeah,
I would just love to hear what the hell he does, because I'm not really sure what he does.
That's exactly it. It's been so vague for the listeners; they have no idea. And I think it's kind of better that way. Just 1 week he'll be on the show, and then just buckle up, hang on to your butts,
because here we go. Yeah, it's going to be pretty extreme.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Should we do the top 5?
I think we shall.
Do you remember that 1 week we didn't do a top 5? That was 2 weeks ago.
It was
wasn't even that long ago.
But 101. Yeah, we were. It was episode 100. It was a beefy one. We needed to rest.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, God created the universe in 6 days. On the 7th day he rested. It's the same kind of thing.
Yeah, we can rest after 100 episodes.
Yeah,
but we all remember what the devil did on that 7th day. He created tuna.
Oh, that is a fact.
I think that's one of my favorite lines that you've ever had on the podcast.
I don't even remember saying that, actually, funny enough. So.
Yeah, because you were like, you know what the devil did on the 7th day? He made tuna.
Oh, yeah.
It was when we did foods.
Yeah. Oh, God, I hate tuna. Alrighty. So this top 5 was actually also suggested. This isn't the one from the listener's email. This is one that was texted in to the ScruffCast. Now that we have our own ScruffCast, line. We just
1-800-SCRUFFS.
Yeah, they just text our phones. So this is actually top 5 TV shows from when we were kids. That's essentially it, yeah?
Yeah. So shows you loved as a kid. Maybe they don't necessarily have to be kids' TV shows. We're thinking shows you watched in your childhood, right? Maybe up until end of elementary school, 12, 13 years old or so. And I know you guys out there, unless we're so poor you didn't have TVs.
Yeah, or some of you are so old you may not have, TVs may not have even been around.
Yeah, we know you're out there, but we'll still accept you. So you guys got to write in. And also, if you guys have suggestions for the show, you text into us. You got to email those at scruffcast@gmail.com so we can read them and fill in 10 minutes worth of the show while we ramble.
Yeah, exactly.
But we still appreciate every suggestion. And I'm excited for this top 5. I feel like it's going to be interesting. I don't know if we'll have any overlap.
Yeah. So essentially, the whole top 5 is kind of shows from your childhood. So we figured up until you're the age of 12 or 13, you become a teenager, I guess, right? That's kind of the way we sort of thought about it. So, all right. Ready? I'll go first.
Ready.
Okay. My number 5, Smart Guy. Now, I think I've talked about this show on here before, the show Smart Guy, and it's actually on Disney Plus now, so I'm going to check it out. See if it still holds up. It probably doesn't. Yeah, it was just such a good show. I don't know what it was about it. The kid was named TJ, I think that was his name. And he was insanely smart. He was a 10-year-old, but he ends up going all the way up into high school. So he's in high school with his brother and his sister now. And it's just about the shenanigans a 10-year-old gets into in high school, right? That's the whole kind of premise of the show. But it was a funny show, and lots of lessons in there too, And it was an all-black cast as well, For the most part, it was an all-black cast, which represents, supporting it,
Yeah. So what was that? Was that Nickelodeon? Was that TGI?
I'm assuming it was Disney because it's on Disney Plus.
Oh yeah.
It's Disney of some type.
Channel.
I don't know.
Yeah. Just Disney. They had the diversity back in the day.
Yeah.
All right. That's a good one.
Thank you.
All right. My number 5 is Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Oh, wow. Okay.
This is a show I had forgot existed until I was researching for this top 5. I love this show. Right? You had the cat that talked. I think his name was Salem.
Yeah.
And he's a witch. He just gets into these wacky hijinks all the time. It's just entertaining. The aunt's name was Zelda, right? It makes you think of Legend of Zelda.
All right.
And I remember that at the Scholastic Book Fair, I think, at school. You remember that?
Yeah.
Right? You get the little thing and you got to be like, Mom, we got to pay $19.99. I need the Sabrina the Teenage Witch book.
Right? Of course, yeah.
And I just think now as a parent, you're like, oh my God.
Jesus
Christ. So, anyways, I can't remember how I obtained this book, but I got this book, which was pretty much an episode of the show, which was in book form. And the episode was Sabrina the Teenage Boy, because for some reason she turned into a boy for this episode, right? But she had to like break the spell or whatever.
Oh.
And I think it was like she drank some drink or something, because I remember like she had like a loud burp or something, turned into this boy.
That's pretty funny.
That's my memories of Sabrina the Teenage Boy.
All right.
My number 5.
All right. My number 4, Arthur.
Ooh.
Oh, dude, this show, I goddamn love this show. My favorite episode specifically, did you watch this show?
I did.
Is when he gets the moon boots. Oh, man, that's all I wanted. I was like, oh, I got to get moon boots. I got to get them. So like I said, my show's like, it's like all really old shows. I didn't pick anything from, when I was a little bit older. It's like all really old stuff. So Arthur, I was obviously pretty young watching it, but I don't know what it was. There's something about that show I just like, I couldn't get enough of. I love turning on TVO. Remember TVO?
Ah, dude, I do remember
I don't
TVO.
even know if that's still a channel. I'm not sure, but
I think 1 or 2 of my shows was on TVO.
Oh, wow.
It's hard to know.
Oh,
And
I just thought of a show. You said TVO. I thought of a show. I wonder if it's on your list, actually. I'll mention it at the very end. I'm not going to throw it on my list now, but I'll mention it at the very end.
All right. And for like listeners not from around here, which I don't even know if we have listeners not from our area, but I think it's like Ontario specific. It's like TV Ontario.
Oh, I think you're right. Yeah, it's like
it was like a government funded channel.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, TVO was a jam.
Arthur, just fantastic show.
Yeah, dude, it had the catchy theme song, right? So right when it comes on, you're like, oh, it's Arthur time.
Every day when you're walking down the street, everybody that you meet. Okay. Let's move on here, please.
And it had the annoying sister.
Yeah. DW.
Right? Everyone could relate to that, which stood for the worst.
The worst.
All right. I don't remember what it stood for. All right, my number 4. I don't remember if this was also a TVO show. It could maybe be a little higher, but I'm going to go with The Magic School Bus.
Oh, solid show. Yeah.
Right? Now, this show was awesome because it was... So I like when shows do something where it's like almost like the trope that repeats every week. So you have something to look forward to, right? Like like, oh, when's that going to happen? And it had that kid, the ginger kid. I don't remember his name.
Yeah, the Kalon of the crew, I guess you could say.
Yes. Where he'd always say like, oh, I knew I should have stayed home today.
Yeah.
And he'd say it every episode. So he's like, oh, yeah, he said it.
There it is. Yeah.
And, it was educational. And we were going to school, and you're just watching. You're like, "Damn, I wish my school was that interesting."
Yeah, I know.
But I have like a funny memory related to the Magic School Bus, which is not even the TV show, but I might have told this on the podcast before. I don't remember, but I remember one time as a kid, I opened the cupboard underneath the bathroom sink, and I found a Magic School Bus PC game.
Right,
and it was like set in the dinosaur era. For some reason, the Magic School Bus had like transported, it was just set in prehistoric time, and you learn about dinosaurs and random shit. So I found it, and I'm like, "Oh, Mom, what's this?" And she goes like, "Oh, that's for the neighbor's kid, but they were hiding it from them, right? Because it's Christmas time,
right?
So they put it under there, or like they gave it to me, and I put it here to hide it from them." So I'm like, "Oh, okay." As a dumbass kid,
yeah. When you're a kid, you're like, "Oh, it makes sense," and you just don't question it.
And then sure enough, Christmas rolls around. I open it. I'm like, "Oh, it was actually for me. Oh, and this is awesome."
That's funny.
Yeah, so Magic School Bus.
Right.
Shout out to Miss Frizzle.
Miss Frizzle. All right, my number 3. Another show I talked about not that long ago, Recess. I talked about it on here. We'll start watching on Disney Plus again. Show still holds up. It's a fantastic show. It's just like, all those kids, like, first off, like, that's the best part of school was always recess, obviously, right? And I remember, like, watching as a kid, like, the jungle gym they had. It was so big. And, like, our elementary school didn't even have a jungle gym. We didn't even have that. So I remember thinking, like, oh, it's so cool, And it's like you have all the little cliques in the school and stuff. It was just, like, really interesting, the show. I thought, like, yeah, and like I said, I watched it again. Like, still holds up. It's still a good show.
How many episodes are there of that show? How many seasons?
2 or 3 or 4 or something like that.
That's not bad.
Yeah. It's not, and like each episode's like 15 minutes long, right? So it's like one episode is 2 episodes. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, they split in half.
I think Arthur was like that too, was it not?
That's a good question. I don't remember if Arthur was like that or not.
I can't remember.
That's a good one. All right. My number 3. I'm pulling a switch on the fly here. I'm swapping my number 3 and 2.
Okay. Wow. All right.
Just spoke to me. One of them bumped up the list. My number 3 is Yu-Gi-Oh.
Oh, okay.
Now, I really liked Pokemon and Digimon as a kid, right? But for some reason, if I think of shows I loved, like the show in particular, I just really loved Yu-Gi-Oh! And I don't know why. It just grabbed me in this way that the other shows didn't. Like I remember doing my speech about it in grade 6.
Right.
Like and for listeners unfamiliar, it's an animated kid show, and they have these cards, and they just battle with the cards, but there's monsters and shit going on. It was like a hit, fad at the time. Like I remember like Pokemania, right? Took over. Everyone had Pokemon cards and trading and playing and stuff. And Yu-Gi-Oh was like, in terms of the cards, at least when we were kids, it felt like it was even bigger.
Yeah, it felt like it at the time. I think it like fizzled out though. Like Pokemon still to this day is like pretty huge.
Yeah,
I feel like Yu-Gi-Oh fizzled out. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know, but
I don't even know if it's still kicking. But Pokemon is the largest grossing like media franchise of all time.
That's crazy.
You know what? I just thought of a future idea for another episode of the podcast. What we'll do.
Okay.
I'll keep that to myself. I'll tell you after the fact.
All right, sounds good.
Anyways, but I remember when I was like grade 6, grade 7, my dad lives in a basement apartment, and the kids who lived in the basement apartment above, they got the WB channel, right, which we didn't have.
An American channel, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, and it would play the newest episodes of Yu-Gi-Oh at like 10 a.m. right on Saturday mornings, or maybe earlier than that. I don't remember. But this is why it made the list over like Pokemon and stuff, is because I remember it'd be like, oh yeah, Saturday morning. Okay, gonna get up, gonna go and hang out with those kids, gonna watch Yu-Gi-Oh. Dude, I never get up early for anything.
That's true. Yeah. Yu-Gi-Oh was worth it.
Yeah, that was the pull that Yu-Gi-Oh had. And it started getting crazy near, in the future seasons. They had this like weird contraptions on their arm that held all the cards, and there was dice and shit going on.
Right. Yeah.
But I don't think it holds up though.
Probably not. No. All right. My number 2, Saved by the Bell. This was just a fantastic show. And I remember as a kid just thinking like Zach Morris was just the coolest. You know what I mean? When you're a kid, you're impressionable, and you just look at him like, oh, he's so cool. Look at him. Like the show was just funny. He was like a bit of a shit disturber. You know what I mean? Like always kind of getting into trouble and stuff. And I just liked that. I liked all the characters. AC Slater, all of them. Screech. But what's crazy too is like that guy who plays AC Slater. What's his name? Mario Lopez.
Mario Lopez.
Yeah, it looks like this guy hasn't aged a day since then.
That's true.
Yeah.
You know what I find? A lot of the time, so I've been watching through Lizzie McGuire with Taryn.
Yeah.
Although we kind of stopped we haven't watched it in a while. But you look at some of the people in the show, and it's like the extras or whatever, and it's like a 30-year-old man. And it's like, this is supposed to be like a 15-year-old kid in this show.
But like, it just gets past you when you're a kid. That's the thing. Like, you don't really think about it that much.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Thanks.
Right. My number 2. This is the one that bumped itself up the list. Mr. Dress Up.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember Mr. Dress Up.
Now, this was another TVO special. It's probably like, our TVO version of Mr. Rogers.
Yeah.
Friendly old guy, I don't think he wore cardigans, but I don't even remember the exact concept of the show. Just talk about different stuff every week. And was there puppets or something on there? I don't even remember.
I think that was Mr. Dress Up, wasn't it? Or that was Mr. Rogers, wasn't it?
Yeah. I have a hard time remembering the exact format.
I know they all kind of blend in together. Yeah.
But I remember really loving Mr. Dress Up.
Yeah, I remember that show too. Good show. All right.
It's my number 2.
Honorable mention. Okay. I'm going to break the rules a little bit here. I'm going to go an honorable mention and a shout out. Okay. Number 1, honorable mention goes to the Power Rangers, obviously.
Dude, that is a very good one.
I know. So, and the reason I only get the honorable mention is because, I was really young when I was into it. I was 3 or 4 when I was, diehard. Because, I don't necessarily remember. I remember it, but, I don't remember being in, that absolute crazy phase, right, where I was, getting all the toys and stuff. I don't necessarily remember that as much, but I remember watching the movies. I remember all that stuff.
Dude, and it had a rockin' theme song.
Yeah.
Did you know it was actually a Japanese show?
Really? That's not surprising, obviously, but
they bought the rights and then just filmed all the scenes where they're in school or whatever and outside of the suits separate, and then just use the footage from the Japanese show.
Oh, no way.
When they're in the suits. Yeah, that's why it's you never see them put the suits on, right?
Oh, that's crazy. I didn't know that.
But dude, that's a good one.
Yeah. And then real quick, the shout out goes to, this wasn't a TV show, that's why I couldn't put it on there. But they were straight to not even straight to DVD, straight to VHS tapes. of the Mickey Mouse sing-alongs. I remember we had like a few of those tapes as kids. And you know what? I found them on YouTube like maybe like a year ago. Dude, still hold up. They're so good still, man. So good. Such happy times, you know?
I remember I had one of those as well. Do you remember that McDonald's there was these VHS tapes you could get from McDonald's at one point in time?
Or Mickey Mouse ones? Or
No, just they were McDonald's, like McDonald Land characters.
Oh, what the hell? No, I don't remember that.
Grimace and the hamburger.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember I had a Halloween one.
Oh, that's weird.
And I think I looked for them on YouTube not that long ago.
All right. Honorable mention, John?
All right. My honorable mention. Now, I like using the honorable mention more as the shout out rather than like the sixth thing on the list.
Yeah.
And I put the Donkey Kong Country TV show.
Oh.
This was the first thing that came into my mind when I thought about this topic. And I thought I found my honorable mention already because I went back and like watched part of an episode because I don't know. I got to give a shout out to it was like Ren 682 or something on YouTube, something like that. He was just uploading all the episodes, like full episodes on YouTube.
Wow.
Dude, they had like 180,000 views. Like,
Jesus. Probably more views than it had in its original running.
Yeah.
Or airing.
It was like a CGI, like 3D animated show.
Right.
Which they didn't look the greatest back then because we're talking like, I'd say late 90s.
Yeah.
Now, I love the Donkey Kong Country games as a kid. So, I don't know. I just love that show.
That's a good one.
It only had 2 seasons. But shout out.
All right. Okay. My number one. Are you ready? This one's going to blow you away.
All right.
Whose line is it anyway?
Oh, dude, that does blow me away.
That is the funniest show probably ever. Like still to this day, that show 100% still holds up. It's not even remotely close. I remember watching the show like as a kid, like with my whole family. You know what I mean? Just like, oh, we're all there. We'd get around and watch this show. And it was just so funny. And I remember one time we were actually in Florida. We were staying like in Disney. So we're all like in the room or whatever. And like we like just like delayed all of our plans. I don't know if we had anything. We were going to go out for dinner. We just like didn't because Whose Lines It? There was like a marathon of Whose Lines It Anyway on. We just literally just stayed in the room the whole time and just watched Whose Lines It Anyway. It's just like the funniest show. It's like the funniest like sketch. It's not sketch comedy. It's like improv. But it's, oh my God, it's hilarious, that show. So good.
That is a good choice. Yeah, does it still run? I think it runs with a different cast.
They brought it back. Yeah, like it was a while ago now, but yeah, they did bring it back.
Yeah, the original cast though was really good.
Yeah,
that's a good one. I love when you go on vacation and then the TV like schedule works out nicely. When I went to Jamaica with my family like years ago now, it worked out perfectly so that when it was like, you know, time to come in from the pool and everything and get ready to go for dinner, SpongeBob SquarePants was on every day.
Right.
And then when it was like end of the day, right, you know, getting ready to go to bed, Family Matters was on every day.
That's funny.
That's a show I also like, but I didn't really discover it as a kid.
I do remember watching that show as a kid. I didn't like it as much though.
All right. Are you ready for my number one?
I'm curious what this is going to be.
TVO jam.
Okay.
And you'll definitely remember this show.
Yeah, this might be the one I just thought about.
All right. Art Attack.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
It was it?
Yeah, that was it.
This was a great show.
Oh my God, amazing show.
I can't remember the guy's name, but for listeners who aren't familiar, Art Attack was just this one guy, and he would make these crazy art projects. And it was so interesting because, you know, I have no artistic skill at all. And so it's like a half-hour long show, and he would do different things. Oh, you know what? I think the way they formatted it is he would start a project, and then they jump around to other smaller projects and experiments and stuff you could do at home. And then they'd come back and check on the results.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I remember one time I actually tried to do one of them, and I can't remember what it was. I think it was like paper mache or like a cardboard tube. Because you remember like you'd paper mache around a balloon, and then you deflate the balloon, right? So you'd have this like perfect sphere. I think it was something like that. I don't know. I don't remember if it worked well at all.
Yeah, that was the exact show I thought of when you mentioned TDO. I was like, oh God damn, that I forgot about that show.
Yeah, that was the king of TDO.
Yeah,
right
fantastic.
There. And there was like that talking like statue bust.
Yeah. Oh,
like,
yeah.
But the best part of every episode was he would always make like one giant image of something.
Yeah.
So it'd be like, you know, he'd be on the beach or something, and you know, he'd walk and he'd move his feet back. No, actually, no, the beach one didn't happen. I remember one time I went to the beach as a kid, and my uncle did that, and he was like walking on the beach and like moving his 2 feet back and forth, making like a giant line, and he made like a skier, like a a little stick figure of
Really?
like a man going skiing. Yeah. But no, he would always
His name
like
was Neil Bunchem. Bunchenham.
Neil Buncham.
Yeah.
Is he still alive?
I don't know. I can't even click on his Wikipedia.
I hope so.
Let me see if I can just Google his name.
So yeah, he would always do like every episode like one giant like image. So maybe, he'd be in a field and he would be like laying down a bunch of construction paper, and you'd always have a tough time like, what is he making? You never know. And then it'd zoom out and it'd be like this awesome, it made like a penguin or some shit. I don't remember.
He is still alive, by the way.
Oh, nice, nice.
Yeah. He's only 58.
Really?
Yeah, he's not that old, actually. I guess, yeah, he's probably like roughly our parents' age, back then. It's not like he was that old back then, right?
Well, dude, like, think 1995 was 25 years ago.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy. But he can't be doing much PR these days.
No,
what if just pull him in for the show?
His years active are 1976 to 2012, so he doesn't do anything anymore. Dude, Art Attack went on from 1990 to 2007.
Dude, it still went on?
Yeah, I didn't realize that.
Wow, that blows my mind. But yeah, that was a great show.
Oh, yeah.
TVO had some shows, man. Remember, what was it, Pokeroo?
Yes.
Right? That was always every week. It's like, whoa, the polka dot shorts. What are they doing in the oven or whatever?
Bananas in pajamas.
I always find that one so interesting. Like, how do they pitch the concept of the show? It's like, okay, we got these two guys. They're twins, right? They're brothers. And every day they get up same time and they love coming down the stairs at the same time, right? They sing this little jingle and they're wearing pajamas. And the people are like, oh, I love it. I love it.
But there's a twist.
Yes.
They're bananas. They literally just like okay, what rhymes with banana? Pajama. Perfect. There'll be bananas in pajamas.
Yeah, they could have done it the other way. It's like, okay, we got these two guys who are bananas. How are we going to make them interesting? We'll put them in pajamas.
Yeah.
I think we talked about it on the show one time because I looked it up because they lived on like Cuddly Cul-de-sac or something like that.
It's weird.
Like a ridiculous sounding street. But I don't know. I've been feeling very nostalgic recently. Just taking me back to when I was a kid. Those were the days.
I hear you.
Taryn always hates when I say that because she's like, well, what about the days now? I'm like, yeah, but those were the days.
These days suck.
I didn't have to pay rent back then.
Yeah, I know. All right. Well, that was our top 5 TV shows from your childhood. Let us know yours. And like everybody's going to have a different kind of age, age gap. So, or time they grew up in. So it'll be interesting to hear all TV shows that you guys loved. Let us know. We're sure, because we didn't have a single one on the list that were the same.
Yeah, we didn't have any overlap.
Normally we kind of like any opinion stuff like this, we kind of run into something of the same, but that just goes to show how many goddamn TV shows are out there. So
yeah, and we grew up the exact same era, right? We're the same age.
Same school, same everything, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and like, dude, there's so many shows like I liked as a kid that didn't even make the list. I originally had like 20 shows on this list. That I
had a lot, yeah. I had to cut them all down.
Yeah.
It was pretty hard.
So you guys should definitely be writing in to scruffcast@gmail.com or tweeting us or hitting us up on Instagram. Slide into those DMs at ScruffCast.
Or go to our website, scruffcast.com. Find our podcast. Yeah. Show your friends. Spread the good word.
Yeah, I feel like for phase 2 of the ScruffCast to really take off, right? Much like the government of Ontario has announced the phase 2 for opening up businesses in the wake of coronavirus.
Yeah.
This is phase 2 of the ScruffCast. And unlike coronavirus, which the more it spreads, the more deadly it is, the more the ScruffCast spreads, the better the world is.
The better the ScruffCast gets.
Yeah. Imagine what we could do with some funding from MeUndies or I don't even know what other podcast ad services are out there advertisements are out there these days.
ZipRecruiter.
Zip Recruiter.
Alrighty.
So share it with your friends.
Yeah.
Are you guys embarrassed of us?
We can't blame you, but still, share with your friends.
Do you get to the end of the top 5 and we just ramble about self-promotion and end the show?
Yeah. I don't think they know.
You shouldn't, because there's always that banging music by Pat Ernst at the end.
That's right. So, hey, guess what? Just like we did to Anthony not that long ago, if you're still listening to this right now, email us tomato. That's it. Just send an email that says tomato to make sure we know you're listening.
Yeah, we're not even necessarily going to read them. We just want to know that you're out there.
We just want to know. Tomato, okay? All right.
Yeah.
That's it then. We'll wrap it up. That was episode 103 of the ScruffCast. Thanks for listening, everybody, and we'll catch you next week.
as I'm watching her go. All I'm thinking is, oh damn that bad thing. I can tell you're really good at distracting.
Those are some mega chonkers, man. Those are hefty chickens.